Well, one of the challenges that I have working for, what in the trade is called a corporate fiduciary. Usually I'm handling estates that require an estate tax return, and that means that I need to have a fair market value appraisal of everything. And, in fact, that's not the best use of Alyssa's firm. So we need a generalist appraiser. We do certainly have, and with the estate tax exemption as high as it is now, we have more and more where we are handling estates that do not require a tax return. We still prefer an appraisal in every instance, because how do we know that we're treating our family fairly if we don't have an appraisal?
But tell our listeners what the estate tax exemption is in case they don't know.
11,480,000, I think, this year. So, pretty high, much higher than most people need to worry about. But then also, honestly, that's just the reality, is that for every estate or item that you might run across that might be worth selling at auction, typically, again, most people have a lot more just plain stuff. And so that is, more of a challenge. We don't get an appraisal on every case, but we do try. And I was going to follow up on what Adam was saying, that I have, over the last 35, 40 years, I've used this exact same analogy countless times with families to try to get across the idea of the different values. And I usually use jewelry. So you go into a jewelry store, you deal with a jeweler you have never met before, and you buy a ring for $500. And that jeweler says, and you ask them for a replacement, or you ask them for an appraisal. And what they're going to give you is a replacement appraisal. And they're going to say to you that I've given you such a tremendous deal on this ring, it's really worth $1,000. I'm going to give you that insurance appraisal of $1,000. If you were to walk around, theoretically to the back door as a jewelry wholesaler to sell, to replace the ring he just sold or she just sold you, they would pay you, you paid $500, they would pay perhaps $250 for that very same ring. And what we have to explain to our family members is that when we get a fair market value appraisal, it's $250. So it doesn't matter what you paid for it, it's what could you sell it for today. And occasionally there's something like that Andy Warhol print behind Alyssa's shoulder that has gone up in value dramatically, but 99 times out of 100, the furniture, the jewelry, what have you, is worth only, some fraction of what was paid for it. We were just talking about pianos. That's certainly true. I mean, one of the challenges that I and my colleagues have had in the last few years is how to get rid of pianos. And it's painful, for folks who appreciate a nice piano, that it's tough to pay someone to take it away.